You pick up your phone, you didn't decide to. Your thumb just moved and the screen lit up before your brain caught up with your hand. Nothing happened. No message, no notification. You check anyway. Why does your body do this 100 times a day without asking permission first? The easy answer is that phones are addictive. That's true, but it's not the real answer. The real answer is far stranger. The urge you feel is not new. It is not digital. It is not even human. Not really. It is 2 million years old, and it once kept your ancestors alive in a world with no screens at all. Picture the savanna. Tall grass, far horizon, a small band of early humans moving together. Food is scattered and hidden. Danger is scattered and hidden too. A lion doesn't announce itself. A ripe patch of fruit doesn't send a signal. The only way to find either one is to look. Again and again and again. This is called foraging, not just for food, but for information. Every rustle in the grass might be nothing. It might be a threat. It might be dinner. There's no way to know without checking, so evolution built a brain that never stops checking. That habit didn't go away when we built cities. It just changed targets. Think about the math of survival for a moment. An early human who ignored a rustle in the grass 9 times out of 10 and was right 9 times out of 10 still had to survive that 10th time. One missed lion meant no more descendants at all. One missed patch of ripe fruit, on the other hand, just meant a little less food that day. The cost of checking and finding nothing was small. The cost of not checking and being wrong was total. Evolution doesn't average these outcomes evenly. It weights them toward paranoia because paranoia that costs you a few seconds beats confidence that costs you your life. Brains that checked obsessively passed on more genes than brains that stayed calm. Yours is one of the checking brains. It has been for a very long time. Your phone is now the tall grass. Here's where the science gets specific. In the 1950s, a psychologist named B.F. Skinner ran experiments on pigeons in a box. He gave them a lever. Sometimes pressing it produced food. Sometimes it didn't. The pattern was random. What Skinner found should unsettle you a little. Pigeons on this unpredictable schedule pressed the lever far more obsessively than pigeons who got a reward every single time. Certainty is calming. Uncertainty is compulsive. A guaranteed reward gets checked once and forgotten. A maybe gets checked forever. Your phone runs on maybe. Maybe there's a message. Maybe someone liked the photo. Maybe it's nothing. That maybe is not an accident of app design. It is a rediscovery of something Skinner proved with pigeons 70 years ago, and something your ancestors' brains had already learned from the savanna long before that. Skinner called this a variable ratio reinforcement schedule, and it is, to this day, the single most powerful pattern known for producing compulsive behavior in any animal with a nervous system. It's the same pattern behind slot machines. Pull the handle, sometimes coins fall, most times they don't, and gamblers will sit in front of that machine for hours, long after the same amount of guaranteed money would have stopped feeling interesting after a single payout. Your phone's notification screen is mechanically the same lever. You pull it by unlocking the screen. Sometimes something falls out. Most of the time, nothing does. And your brain, built by the same logic that built the pigeon's brain, cannot help but pull it again. But why does maybe feel so good to check? For that, you need to go inside the brain itself. In the 1990s, a neuroscientist named Wolfram Schultz recorded individual neurons in monkeys while they waited for a reward. He expected the dopamine to fire when the reward arrived. It didn't. It fired earlier, at the moment of anticipation, and it fired hardest when the reward was uncertain rather than guaranteed. Dopamine, it turns out, is not really the chemical of pleasure. It is the chemical of prediction. It rewards you for looking, not for finding. Think about what that means. Your brain isn't giving you a hit when the notification arrives. It's giving you a hit in the half second before you look, in the space where anything could be there. The prehistoric brain didn't survive by rewarding the meal. It survived by rewarding the search. A hunter who felt satisfied and stopped looking starved. A hunter who kept scanning the horizon, even when most scans found nothing, lived long enough to have children. You are descended entirely from the second kind of hunter. So the itch you feel isn't weakness, it's inheritance. Consider what this means for something as ordinary as a text message. The moment of highest dopamine isn't when you read the words. It's the second between seeing your phone buzz and turning it over to look. That gap, tiny as it is where your brain is doing its ancient work, predicting, guessing, hoping. Once you actually read the message, the dopamine has already done its job and started fading. This is why an unread notification badge, a small red number sitting on an app icon, can feel almost unbearable. It isn't the content behind the badge that pulls at you, it's the unresolved prediction. Your brain doesn't like open questions. It never did. An open question on the savanna was exactly the kind of thing that got predators noticed early or got food found first. There's a third piece to this, and it's the one that explains why the checking is so often social. In the 1990s, an anthropologist named Robin Dunbar proposed something that sounds almost too simple. Humans didn't grow big brains to make tools or build fires. We grew big brains to track relationships. Who is trustworthy? Who is angry with whom? Who might help you and who might betray you? Dunbar argued that gossip, the exchange of small social information, was the human equivalent of grooming in other primates. It's how we maintained the bonds that kept a small tribe from falling apart. A tribe of 30 people is a lot of relationships to track. Who said what? Who's upset? Who's pregnant? Who's plotting something? Your ancestors needed constant, low-level updates on the social world around them, because missing an important shift in alliance could mean exile, and exile in the ancient world often meant death. Checking in on the group wasn't idle curiosity, it was survival infrastructure. Dunbar went further and calculated a number, roughly 150, as the natural ceiling of stable relationships a human brain can meaningfully track at once. Beyond that number, the social bookkeeping breaks down. You stop being able to hold everyone's shifting alliances and grudges in your head. But here's the strange part. Your phone doesn't respect that ceiling. It hands you hundreds, sometimes thousands of people to track at once. Friends, acquaintances, strangers, influencers, all competing for the same ancient social monitoring circuitry that evolved to handle 30. No wonder it feels exhausting. You are running tribal software on a crowd the size of a city. Now look at your phone again. It isn't just an information source, it's a social one. Messages, likes, comments, who's online, who read your text and didn't reply. Every single one of those is a modern echo of the ancient question. Where do I stand with my tribe right now? Your phone didn't invent that anxiety. It just gave it a battery and a screen and put it in your pocket, always within reach, always slightly unanswered. Put these three things together and the picture becomes obvious. A brain built by evolution to relentlessly forage for hidden food and hidden danger. A reward system discovered by Schultz that fires hardest on uncertainty rather than certainty. Exactly the pattern Skinner found in his pigeons. And a social tracking system, described by Dunbar, that never stops needing updates on where you stand with the people around you. None of these three systems was designed for a smartphone. All three of them were perfectly designed to be captured by one. Consider how deliberately this old wiring gets used against you now. The red notification badge wasn't chosen by accident. Red is the color the human eye is most drawn to, the color of blood and ripeness and danger, the color your ancestors' visual system was tuned to notice first in a field of green grass. The pull-down gesture to refresh your feed mimics the exact motor action of Skinner's lever, a small mechanical ritual standing between you and an uncertain reward. None of this is conspiracy. It's simply that the people building these products studied the same old circuitry you inherited and built their interfaces to sit directly on top of it. They didn't have to invent new desires, they only had to aim old ones more precisely than a savanna ever could. This is the counterintuitive twist. You didn't get weaker, the world got better at aiming an old gun. App designers didn't invent a new kind of desire. They found the oldest one you have and built a machine that fires it every few minutes instead of every few days. Your savanna ancestor checked the horizon maybe 20 times a day. You check a horizon of glass and light over 100 times because it's closer, because it's faster, because it never runs out of grass to search. Here's the part that might surprise you the most. This isn't a flaw in your character. You cannot think your way out of it because it isn't happening at the level of thoughts. It's happening at the level of ancient circuitry, the same circuitry that once told a hunter which direction the food went and which direction the lion came from. Willpower was never designed to argue with a system that old. That's why simply deciding to check your phone less so often fails within a day or two. You're not fighting a habit. You're fighting 2 million years of finely tuned survival machinery, now aimed at a slot machine you carry everywhere. Knowing this doesn't make the urge disappear, but it changes what the urge means. The next time your hand reaches for your phone before your mind is caught up, that isn't proof that something is wrong with you. It's proof that something worked. It's proof that your brain is still doing exactly what it was built to do, scanning the horizon, tracking the tribe, chasing the maybe instead of the guaranteed nothing. You pick up your phone, you didn't decide to, and now you know why. Somewhere behind your eyes, a hunter is still standing in the grass, still scanning, still waiting to see if this time, this glance is the one that matters.